Hello and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today we are going over the Exotic Envy Koenigsegg Agera R. Alright, let's get right into it with the casting. So our casting right off the bat, we can see it has mirrors, which for newer premiums this is pretty common, but you got to remember this casting actually came out in 2014, I believe was the first release. So, you know, those older castings, you didn't always get that, but it's nice to see that we got the mirror treatment here. We've got really nice proportions. It does look like a Koenigsegg Agera. I used to think it was a little bit squished and a little bit too tall, perhaps, but when you pair it up to a Tarmac Works Agera RS, they actually scale up pretty nicely together. So it looks about as I think it should, I guess. The big wheel in the back is a little bit distracting. I know people... That's probably this casting's biggest drawback is this big wheel in the back. It's not too distracting. It doesn't look that bad, so I let it slide. Our vents here are all casted in, which are really nice. All of this is all casted in. We do have a plastic wing on the back. And up front, all this is casted in as well. No tampo work. This is actually the only, as far as I know, the only Agera R in 1/64th is the Hot Wheels premium version. Everything else is an Agera RS or a 1-to-1 or something else. Moving on to our paint and deco, I'm just going to put this out here. I think it looks fantastic. This color scheme is not what I expected would be the color scheme, but I'm actually really glad that it is because it is very close to that Need for Speed version that came out in 2014 that almost nobody has, but it doesn't step on its toes. So it's not identical to it, but it's close enough that those of us who missed it have a shot to get a red Agera R in our collections. And honestly, a better Agera R perhaps? You know, this is a little bit more, we don't have the black bar all the way down here, and we don't have this filled in. I do wish that this section had all been red, but it's not that big of a deal, because overall, I think the paint and deco combination came out great on this one. As far as the details go, we have everything pretty much where you'd expect it to be. We've got our Koenigsegg logo here. We've got all of our vents tampoed where they're supposed to be. Nice headlights, good striping. Like we said earlier, we got the mirror detailed on there. No reflective part, but that's part of the course for Hot Wheels. We've got this little stripey thingy. We even have an Agera R logo. Very, very hard to see there. Taillights where they're supposed to be. Nothing of this is really like no exhaust tip or anything like that. That would have been nice to see, but I guess I'm not too surprised that it's not there. Yeah, overall, not too much to say, but looks great. There is one thing that we don't have that should be in this general area, and that is our ghost. We don't have a ghost detailed on there, which is odd, honestly. I'm kind of surprised that that isn't there, but that's the major hiccup, I'd say, in the detail department, is that we don't have a ghost. So, does it roll? Well, like all Hot Wheels premium castings, yes, it does roll, and it rolls very nicely. Alright, our pros and cons section here. So, our pros is, this is the only Koenigsegg Agera R that you can get in 1/64th. Like we said earlier, there are some other similar cars, the 1-to-1, there are Agera RSs, but as far as a standard Agera R, this is it as far as I know of. Our other pros are it looks great, the paint looks fantastic, proportions are good. Alright, moving on to cons. Obviously, we've talked about the price of Hot Wheels premiums at this point, so I'm not even going to include that one. But we have our big rear wheel in the back, which is obviously a bit of a con, not the worst. The other big con, which is just for me personally, is these 5-spoke wheels. I've talked about this on my Instagram page before, but here we're going to bring it up on YouTube. I dislike these wheels. I dislike these wheels quite a bit. These are honestly my least favorite of all the Real Riders that they have right now. And especially with this big one in the back here, it just does not look good in my opinion. I do wish we had gotten maybe a 10-spoke or the 6 spokes that I know most of you guys probably don't like, but the one that the Boulevard received, those wheels. Those are the wheels I would have picked. I'm not a big fan of these 5 spokes, so that's going to be a big con for me. So down to our final thoughts. Overall, I'm going to give this release an 8.5 out of 10. To be perfect, I would have needed a ghost decal on it, and I also would have needed different wheels. But other than that, I'd say it's a perfect release, and it's a great way for anyone who missed the Need for Speed version to get a red Agera R in their collection. And it also doesn't rip off fully the Need for Speed version. So those of you who do have the Need for Speed version can pick this up and not have 2 identical cars. So overall, I would say this is about as good of a release as we could have hoped for. I do, however, want a matte blue version, almost this exact car, I'd say, but matte blue, because that is one that went around the auto shows for a while, an Agera R, and I think it looks great, and we just haven't gotten it yet. Alright guys, that concludes my review. Make sure you guys hit like, make sure you guys subscribe if you're new, and also tell me what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Do you love this Koenigsegg Agera R? Do you think it's trash? Let me know what you think down below, and I will see you guys in the next review.